Welcome to SATV News. This is Kazi Farhana with your headlines. Upcoming election will be the most challenging, says EC AMM Nasir. Commission's main responsibility is to organize a free and fair election, says EC Anwarul. Conspiracy underway to replace liberal politics with extremism, says Mirza Fakhrul. Holding elections essential to prevent off-fascism return. Vegetable prices remain high. Prices for chicken, beef, mutton unchanged. Now in details. Chief Election Commissioner AMM Nasiruddin has said that the upcoming election will be the most challenging when compared to previous elections. Speaking during the inauguration of a two-day training program for co-trainers ahead of the national election at the Electoral Training Institute in Dhaka today, the CC said new challenges must be addressed this time. Alongside law and order and political challenges, social media-related challenges will also have to be dealt with, he added. Besides, he said the key principles for the Election Commission must be professionalism and neutrality. Mr. Nasir further emphasized the importance of the effective communication at the field level. Meanwhile, Election Commissioner MD Anwarul Islam Sarkar said that at the moment, the Election Commission is the most challenging institution in Bangladesh. He added that the Commission's main responsibility is to organize a free and fair election. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir warned of a conspiracy to remove moderate liberal politics and liberal democracy and bring in extremist politics, describing this as extremely dangerous for Bangladesh, and stressed the need for a united effort to establish a liberal democracy. Holding the election is essential to prevent the return of fascism, Mr. Fakhrul said at a book launching event today. If the election does not take place, this nation will be severely harmed. The possibility of fascism returning will increase significantly, he added. The BNP leader also stated that the upcoming national election will happen, and it will happen within the declared time. Speaking at the National Press Club during the unveiling of Saada Fatima Salam's book, Raktakta July, he also acknowledged that the people are feeling confused and anxious about whether the election will take place. There is a kind of fear among the people about whether or not the election will be held, he claimed. Addressing BNP's activists, he urged them not to allow the opposition to malign the party. The BNP leader further remarked that July struggle has not received as much attention in literature and in the 1952 language movement. Sixteen people, including former Textiles and Jute Minister Abdul Latif Siddiq and Dhaka University Law Department Professor Sheikh Hafizur Rahman Karzan, have been sent to jail over conspiring to oust the interim government in the case filed under the Anti-Terrorism Act at Shahbag Police Station in the capital. The investigating officer of the case, Sub-Inspector Tawfiq Hassan of Shahbag Police Station, submitted a petition in this regard today. The Court of Dhaka Chief Metropolitan Magistrate Sarah Farzana granted the request. The case was filed by Shahbag Police Station Officer in Charge Amirul Islam. According to the case details, the attendees of a roundtable titled Our Great Liberation War and the Constitution of the Bangladesh, organized by the Monju 71, were allegedly provoking others to destabilize the country through armed struggle and conspiring to overthrow of the current interim government. Human Rights Support Society has called for strengthening and making the Commission of Inquiry on Enforced Disappearances effective and permanent. The rights organization made a 7-point demand today during a discussion at the National Press Club held to observe International Day in Memory of the Victims of Enforced Disappearances 2025. HRSS stated that merely signing the international conventions and is not enough. Effective actions is now a matter of urgency in Bangladesh. According to HRSS data, hundreds of people have gone missing over the last decade, many of whom are yet to be found. The HRSS emphasized that without making the recently formed investigation commission strong and effective, proper justice for these crimes is not possible. Speaking during a discussion, said in the last 50 years, countless murder and disappearances have occurred in the country to suppress dissenting voices. Indian authorities have expelled scores of ethnic Rohingya refugees to Bangladesh and Myanmar without rights protection since May 2025, Human Rights Watch said on Thursday. The authorities have arbitrarily detained several hundreds more, mistreating some of them, it said. In May, states governed by the Bharatiya Janata Party initiated a campaign to expel Rohingya and Bengali-speaking Muslims for being illegal immigrants. Those expelled to Bangladesh included at least 192 Rohingya refugees despite being registered with the United Nations High Commissioner for the Refugees. The authorities also put 40 Rohingya refugees on a ship near the Myanmar coast and forced them to swim ashore, the New York-based Human Rights Watch said. Dozens more have been failed to flee to Bangladesh to avoid the crackdown, it said. The Indian government's expulsion of the Rohingya refugees shows an utter disregard for the human life and international law, said Elaine Pearson. The prices of vegetables remained high in the capital's kitchen market over the past 3 weeks, with most varieties selling above Taka 100 per kg, leaving consumers frustrated. During visits to several kitchen markets, many buyers were seen expressing anger over the spiraling prices. Round brinjal was found selling between Taka 180 to 220 per kg, long brinjal at Taka 140 to 160, and white brinjal at Taka 100 to 120 per kg. Other vegetables also witnessed price hikes. Pointed gourd was being sold at Taka 80 to 100 a kg. Viewers, we're taking a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back to watching SATV News. News from abroad. At least 41 Palestinians, including children and aid seekers, have been killed since Friday dawn in the Israeli attacks across Gaza, including several in the Al-Mawasi area, a humanitarian zone designated by Israel in the south. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is among those criticizing Israel's expanded military operation to seize Gaza City, saying it signals a new and dangerous phase in the war. Far-right Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has called for Israel to annex the Gaza Strip if Hamas refuses to disarm in the latest push by an Israeli officials to forcibly displace Palestinians and take complete control of the coastal enclave. Israel has killed at least 62,966 people and wounded 1,59,266 in its genocide on Gaza since October 7, 2023. Iran's national television station IRIB reported Tehran was angered by Britain, France and Germany, known as the E3, on Thursday for launching a 30-day process and the reimpose event sanctions on Iran over its disputed nuclear program. The Europeans use the snapback mechanism is illegal, said state media. A senior Iranian official earlier accused the three of the harming diplomacy and vowed that Tehran would not bow to pressure over the move by the E3 to launch the so-called snapback mechanism. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said the decision did not signal the end of the diplomacy. His German counterpart, Johann Wedefol, urged Iran to now fully cooperate with the UN. Nuclear watchdog is say and commit to direct talks with the United States over the next month. The UN Security Council is due to meet behind closed doors on Friday at the request of the E3 to discuss the snapback move against the Islamic Republic, diplomats said. Meanwhile, Russia on Friday condemned a decision by Britain, Germany and France to launch a process that could reimpose UN sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program. Russia strongly condemned those sanctions by European countries and called on the international community to reject them. The Russian foreign minister said in a statement that blamed the United States and the Europeans for the collapse of the 2015 agreement. Russia signed a strategic cooperation deal with Iran this year and condemned the bombing of Iranian nuclear sites by Israel and the United States in June. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said attempts to reimpose sanctions on Tehran were a serious destabilizing factor that undermined the search for a negotiated solutions. She said it was important to prevent a new escalation over Iran's nuclear program that would lead to grave consequences. The White House said on Thursday that President Donald Trump was not happy when he learned that Russia attacked Ukraine with missiles and drones overnight, killing at least 15 people and damaging buildings, including the British Consul in Kiev. Donald Trump was not happy about this news, but he was also not surprised. These are two countries that have been at war for a very long time, White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt told reporters, adding that Trump will make an additional statement on the situation later on Thursday.
Keith Kellogg, the president's special envoy, has described these attacks as egregious. Do you agree with that?
One person was killed and dozens ensued after protest in Indonesia's capital Jakarta turned violent late on Thursday as police clashed with hundreds of demonstrators demanding political and economic reforms. On Thursday, demonstrators were protesting a number of issues including lawmakers' pay, education funding and the government's school meals program. As the protest persisted into the night, local media reported that riot police fired tear gas and used water cannons to try to disperse people. Earlier this month, local media reported that parliamentary tensions were paid upwards of 100 million rupiah a month, including a substantial housing allowance. While Indonesia is Southeast Asia's largest economy, that remuneration is far above the archipelago's average monthly income of 3.1 million rupiah. The capital's police chief, Asif Edi Suhari, said that during the clashes, an armored police vehicle hit and killed a motorcycle rideshare driver. A motorcycle drivers association said the dead man was not involved in the protests. China's foreign ministry condemned on Friday the visit to Taiwan by the U.S. Senator Roger Wicker, chairman of the Armed Services Committees and a prominent advocate for the island. China has always firmly opposed any form of official exchanges between the U.S. and Taiwan. The U.S. Congress member's trip to Taiwan seriously violated the One China principle. China is strongly dissatisfied with this, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jiakun said during a daily news conference. Thailand's constitutional court, which initially suspended 39-year-old Pathingthorn Shinawatra as premier, has issued a verdict to dismiss her from her post on Friday for ethics violation, abruptly ending the term of Thailand's youngest prime minister after just over a year in office. In its verdict, the court said Pathingthorn violated ethics in a leaked June telephone call, during which she appeared to know to the Cambodia's former leader Hun Sen when both countries were at the brink of an armed border conflict. Fighting erupted weeks later that lasted 5 days. Pathingthorn publicly apologized over the leaked call even before she was suspended from the office, insisting she had intended to de-escalate a territorial row between Thailand and Cambodia.
ที่ขอความเห็นใจจากสมเด็จฮุนเซนจึงไม่ใช่เทคนิคการเจรจา
Devastating floods have submerged more than 1,600 villages in Pakistan's Punjab province, killing at least 17 and impacting more than 1 million people, the Provincial Disaster Authority said on Thursday. The Director General of the Provincial Disaster Management Authority, Irfan Ali Khan, confirmed the death toll was due to various accidents during this spell, including drownings. Pakistani authorities have evacuated more than 1 million people from homes in Punjab province this week, officials said on Thursday, as the worst flooding there in 4 decades caused havoc in hundreds of villages and submerged vital grains crops. Torrential monsoon rain and neighboring India's release of excess water from its dams swelled 3 rivers that flow into the eastern province, forcing authorities to bridge river banks in some places. Residents of villages such as Karidabad were walking through water up to their chest on Thursday after the river Chenab overflowed, causing sudden flooding. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz on Thursday expressed doubt whether a meeting between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin could take place. There obviously will not be a meeting between President Zelensky and President Putin, different from what was agreed between US President Donald Trump and President Putin last week in Washington, Merz said as he was meeting French President Emmanuel Macron in southern France. Merz's comment comes after Russia pounded Ukraine with deadly missiles and drone strikes early on Thursday in a sweeping attack that the U.S. special envoy on Ukraine said undermined Trump's peace efforts. Speaking during the meeting with Merz in the Bourgogne-on-Fold, Macron said the French-German couple is today perfectly aligned on their ambitions for Europe in terms of the economy, trade and investment in defense in the face of the war in Ukraine.
Et je crois que le couple franco
33 Colombian soldiers allegedly taken by villagers acting under the orders of a rebel group were freed after 3 days, the Ombudsman's office said on Thursday. Ombudsman's Irish Marine announced that the release on her X account. Her office was mediating with the community to secure the release. Earlier, Colombia's defense ministry said that the soldiers were held since Monday in the southeastern province of Guaviare, following a gunfight that killed 10 members of a FARC holdout group. Defense Minister Pedro Sanchez on Monday said the villagers holding the soldiers captive were demanding the return of the slain rebels' body, which was transported to a morgue in the provincial capital. The army initially reported that 34 soldiers were held, but later lowered the number to 33. Before ending, we go to the headlines again. Upcoming election will be the most challenging, says CCAM Nasir Commission's main responsibility is to organize a free and fair election, says Isi Anwarul. Conspiracy underway to replace liberal politics with extremism, says Mirza Fakhrul, holding election essential to prevent a fascism return. Vegetable prices remain high, prices for chicken, beef, mutton unchanged. Updated with the top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.